The Italia Maranello bass is the living embodiment of glam rock, played by a Welsh cultural icon and designed by an industry legend with a vision. But was that vision realised, or did it crash and burn? My name is Hugh, and in this review I'm going to be deep diving the design features of the Italia Maranello bass. I will be giving my brutally honest verdict on what this bass is like to play, to record with, and to play live. But first, what the heck is an Italia Maranello anyway? So Italia is a guitar company that was founded in 1999 by Trev Wilkinson. As I said in the intro, Wilkinson is a legend of the guitar building industry and is particularly famous for his work creating affordable guitars. He's probably best known for his extensive work with the brands Vintage or Fret King, and you've probably heard the name Wilkinson in terms of guitar hardware, whether that be Wilkinson pickups, Wilkinson tremolos that you often see in other guitar brands. Now, Wilkinson founded Italia in 1999, and I actually managed to find this really cool interview with him from Music Radar where he talks in detail about why he started this company.
Italia started as a design consultancy from a Korean company going back to the European guitars. I mean, as good or as bad as they were, they had phenomenal character. But it was the kind of guitar that looked so cool in videos, and all the bands wanted to use them in videos.
And that brings us on to the perfect place to start when talking about this instrument, the looks. Now, looks are subjective at the best of times, but I definitely think that this aesthetic is particularly Marmite. You're either looking for that glam look or you're not, and I have to say, I love it. The thing that stands out straight away is the glittery finish. I mean, if I try and hold this in the light, you can see that glitter effect in the paintwork is absolutely beautiful. In terms of the body style, you can see that it's a very classic kind of single cut design, and that familiar LP sort of style is mirrored in the headstock as well, where you have two aside tuners. Interesting bit of trivia for you, the name Italia is actually inspired by motorcycles. And despite the name literally meaning Italy, these instruments have got nothing to do with Italy whatsoever. They were designed by a Brit and manufactured in a factory in South Korea. And if you think the front is dramatic, wait until you see the back. So it's got this kind of perloid effect, kind of the thing that you often see on pick guards. And that extends right from the body all the way along the neck up to the headstock. Now, this is not paint. This is like a kind of plastic sheath that's around the whole instrument. And in fact, nowhere on this bass can you touch bare wood. Now, I'm sure that's a bit of a red flag to some people, but honestly, having played this bass extensively, I don't think that it's detrimental to the feel at all. This is not like playing a high gloss painted neck. Your hand glides up and down it perfectly smoothly. I haven't found this finish on the back of the neck to be an impediment to playing it whatsoever. It also has these beautiful pearl inlays on the fretboard. Now, I don't know exactly how old this bass is, but absolutely none of these inlays are sticking up or sticking out at all, which is a contrast to my Gibson Les Paul, which pretty much came with the inlays sticking out. The neck shape I would describe as kind of a D profile. It is quite fat, but it is also quite flat at the back, which does make it quite comfortable for that kind of classical hand kind of shape. Having said that though, a bit later in the video, I am going to talk about how the design of this bass does make it somewhat difficult to live with. I just want to give it a bit of a clean now, it's got fingerprints all over it. But in the meantime, we've got a very important question to answer, and that is, are Italia actually still going? Now, I have not been able to find any kind of official communication from Italia that they have ceased to be. Their website does still appear to be up and running, and it does still seem like you can order guitars from it. And on there, you will see that the Maranello bass is listed for $999. However, there are signs to suggest that the website has been long abandoned. The vast majority of instruments on there are listed as back ordered, and there are no other websites listing new Italias for sale. Which brings me nicely on how I acquired my Italia Maranello in the first place. So I am a super fan of the Welsh band Manic Street Preachers. I also have a white Gibson Les Paul like James Dean Bradfield, and I have a Telecaster thin line like Richie Edwards. Next I want to get one of those orange Gretches. I've been trying to tell the missus that one of those would go really well in our living room. Her response has been lukewarm at best. And perhaps the most famous player of an Italian Maranello is their bass player, Nicky Wire. And when I was a teenager and I saw him playing one of these basses, I was absolutely obsessed. The only other bass player that I've really seen use an Italian Maranello is the bass player from a Brazilian band called Super Combo. I guess she must have been an Italia artist. She uses all their different kinds of basses in all of the videos that I've seen of her. I absolutely had to have one, but seeing the lack of Italias being advertised for sale anywhere on the internet, I emailed Italia themselves to ask about how I could buy one of these basses. And in response, I got back nothing. And if you go online on all kinds of forums, you'll see a lot of people with the exact same story of trying to contact Italia to buy instruments and not getting any response whatsoever, further suggesting that the brand is essentially shut down. I then tracked down a company that said they were a distributor for Italia guitars, and once again, no response. So in the end, I purchased this instrument off eBay from a guy in Solihull. It even came with a gig bag. Look at this, an Italia gig bag. Find me another one of these. It has a hole in it. Now, just before we get on to talking about what this bass is like to play and live with, here's a clip of Trev Wilkinson talking about what he wanted to achieve with Italia guitars as musical instruments.
But if we could produce the look, but make them work in an environment that works on stage and they sound like a modern guitar, there may be, you know, a product there.
So was Trevor successful in his mission? Well, let's find out. So as you can see, this bass has two pickups. These are Wilkinson humbuckers. It's got one in the classic neck position and one in the classic bridge position. It has three controls down here: volume for neck, volume for bridge, and master tone. I should quickly say that the signal chain that I'm using today is the Maranello bass through a TC Electronic Spectra comp into a Fender Rumble 200 head, which is being recorded via the DI out into GarageBand. And there is no post-processing of the sound whatsoever. Here's what it sounds like with both pickups on full playing with fingerstyle. And now with pick style. So this is going to be the first of my brutally honest takes, okay? I never use this bass with both pickups on. In my opinion, it doesn't sound very nice at all. It doesn't cut through a mix whatsoever. I've got a feeling that the position of the two pickups and the distance from them creates some kind of phase cancellation. It kind of makes the bass quieter. And it just gives the instrument a kind of scooped sound even when you haven't actually scooped the EQs. The other problem with the middle position on this bass is that kind of blending the two pickups doesn't work at all. Like, you only need to turn one of the pickups down a little bit and it just sounds like it's totally off. So this is with the neck pickup on 5. And this is with the neck pickup totally off. Basically the same. So personally, whenever I play this bass, I'm only ever using one pickup. I'm going to start by showing you the neck pickup. So a lot of people would probably assume that this would give you that sort of Gibson EBO style sound with that big fat humbucker in the bridge position. And again, in pick style. Now I can imagine a lot of people will be tempted to play this bass with the neck pickup on and the tone rolled fully off. So let's see what that sounds like now. Yeah, yeah, it gives you that kind of woofy, super bassy sound. Now that might sound okay in isolation, but I have never found that when recording or playing in a band, that sound cuts through or works for me at all. That's just my personal opinion. So let's turn the tone back up and see what the bridge pickup sounds like in isolation. And now with pick style. Now actually, and perhaps counterintuitively, I have found that the bridge pickup is the one that I end up using the most. Having this kind of pickup option really sets it apart from a lot of other basses. Whether it's playing it clean like that or playing it with distortion or modulation on, that is probably my favourite sound from this bass. I often find that I'm tempted to move my fingers all the way back here to play over the pickup to get that kind of super honky sound. I find that can really cut through a mix. You do lose a little bit of low end, but you can compensate for that through your amplifier. Unfortunately though, that is pretty much the end of the good news for this bass. The Italia Maranello features several design choices that make it quite a difficult instrument to live with. Issue number one, it weighs a ton. I seem to have a knack of buying extremely heavy basses and guitars, but this one really takes the cake. If you're going to be playing this standing up in a gig, you are definitely going to have a sore back and a sore shoulder at the end of the show. Issue number two, it's really, really long, and the cause of that is right here. Here's a P bass for comparison. You can see that the bridge is right up against the bottom of the body. And what that means is that the overall length of the bass is pretty much minimized. Whereas on the Italia, look at the distance between the bridge and the strap button. And what that means is that when you're stood up playing this with a strap, the end of the neck is absolutely miles away. For context, I'm 6'2". I am not a short guy. But even I, when I'm playing this stood up, find it almost impossible to play anything in the key of F. It's a nightmare. And if you think that's the end of the issues with this bridge, oh my goodness, wait until you hear what I've got to say later. Now the tuners, to be fair, are actually pretty okay. I've not had a single spot of bother with any of them. As we travel down the neck though, we do find another quite substantial issue. This might be a bit difficult to see on camera, but kind of all around the neck and then all around the body, it's got this kind of cream coloured binding. And this binding gives the whole bass a sharp edge. Now don't get me wrong, you're not going to cut yourself on it, you're not going to end up with bleeding hands, but especially if you're playing pick style, your arm rubs on this kind of corner of the bass and you will definitely end up with red marks on your forearm at the end of the show. Happens to me every time I play the bass. Now I'm not much of a slapper, but this neck pickup being right up against the neck does make slapping on this bass pretty impossible. Like, okay, you can physically do it, I suppose, like... but you are fighting a bit of a battle. I guess there's a reason when you see double humbucker basses that the kind of neck humbucker is in more of a sort of middle position. Even on something like a Gibson Les Paul bass, the neck pickup is in the middle position. For some reason, all of the electronics for this bass are held beneath this kind of plastic egg kind of area. Now I'm not going to take this off to show you and you'll understand why in a moment, but underneath each of these screws that holds this kind of plastic bit on, there is a spring. I don't know why, because it's not bouncy at all, but yeah, these screws are spring loaded. And what that means is that if you take this off, when you put it back on, you have to line the screws up with those springs, despite the fact that you cannot see them. But the worst thing by a mile about this bass is the bridge. So as you can see, this bridge is a kind of wrap around design. The strings go through under the bridge, then wrap over and go up to the headstock. But the problem is that this back pickup is so close to the bridge that it makes it very, very, very awkward to restring. Now you can't actually see this, but there are holes underneath this bridge that you have to thread the strings through. And when I say you can't see them, I also include when you are actually restringing the bass. You literally have to just guess where the holes are and just poke the string through in hope. But wait, there's more. You adjust the intonation in the normal fashion by adjusting some screws. And those screws are also located on the inside of the bridge, meaning they too are blocked by this pickup. But all those pale into significance when it comes to adjusting the height of the bridge. The way that you adjust the height of the bridge is with these kind of bolts here, but it is not as straightforward as it looks. What you have to do is you have to loosen these bolts using a kind of spanner to slacken it off to allow you to adjust, and then you have to get an Allen key and put it inside the hole, and that's what changes the height. And you can see from the wear and tear on these bolts and the holes that both I and the previous owner of this bass have struggled and failed to adjust the heights in any kind of meaningful way. And the other day on YouTube, I found a video of someone trying to work on one of these basses, and they showed how the kind of bolt inside that the Allen head goes into is very susceptible to breaking. Now I should probably say here that it would be wrong of me to tell you that you can't make this bass play nicely. I have actually managed to get quite a low action on it now, I think probably more from luck than judgment, but when I'm sitting down with the bass on my lap, it is possible to enjoy playing this thing. You just have to cross your fingers a little bit. So with all that said and done, what is my verdict on the Italia Maranello bass? Well, if you are in a Manic Street Preachers cover band, I would say that you should probably get one. And if you're in, I don't know, some kind of disco-y, glittery, glammy kind of party band, then I guess if you're willing to live with the discomfort. But in terms of recording with this thing, I would say that there are many, many other basses that would do a better job. I definitely wouldn't say that this should be anyone's only bass. It is, unfortunately, all style, pretty much no substance. But I suppose that is just my opinion, so if you have an Italian Maranello bass or any Italian instrument, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be delighted to hear your thoughts on this subject. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting subscribe. My name is Hugh, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.